Welcome to Built for This, the podcast where purpose meets performance. Hosted by business strategist and human behavior specialist Carly Pepin, this show dives into the real stories behind high-growth businesses. Let's bring life to your vision.
Welcome, guys. So today's going to be a really exciting one. I have to say, since I had my pre-call with Laurent, I just sass is in my brain, like left and right, and SEO and all this fun stuff. So I think we're going to have a lot of fun chatting today. Laurent Cohen is a serial entrepreneur with over 30 years of experience building and scaling businesses across environment, cosmetics, e-commerce, SaaS, and AI. He founded and led multiple companies in France and the USA, generating multi-million revenue, including BioGujaard, 6 million plus, Label Health, 8 million plus, and PhytoBio Beardalizer, 8 million plus, managing international operations, large teams, complex regulatory environments, and global distribution across 10 plus countries. His work has spanned brand creation, digital growth, SEO, SEM, GEO, product innovation, blockchain applications, and advanced marketing systems. Today, Laurent is the founder of Get Oblique, a voice-first AI platform for local businesses, which he is fully building bootstrapped. His approach focuses on leverage over capital, validating ideas before investment, designing profitable systems only, and building companies grounded in clarity, execution, and long-term value. He speaks candidly about the real journey of entrepreneurship, strategy, pressure, resilience, and evolution. So welcome, Laurent. It's really good to have you.
Hello, Carly. Thank you for having me. It's a real pleasure. And I have to say that our pre-interview was pretty fantastic. So I'm very eager to share a few of my experience and maybe help people in the audience foresee what's happening.
For sure. I'm excited. Like I said, I've been thinking about it a lot. I've been talking about all the stuff we kind of chatted about in our masterminds. So you really got me looking at things in a different way already. So I think this one's going to be really inspiring. So you've been an entrepreneur all the way back since 1993. Take us back to that first venture. What was it? What drove you to begin it?
Uh, you know, I think being an entrepreneur is a state of mind. I mean, you can run, but you cannot hide. I I've never tried even to work for someone else. I kind of need that freedom. I think one of my stronger assets is creativity, and on top of that, feel really comfortable going from 0 to 50. That's my zone. That's just creating, bootstrapping. Just being able to, maybe it's my ADHD, I don't know. Being able to jump from a theme to another. Doing 10 things different a day. I have to say I'm a little bit less comfortable when the structure becomes a little more with the politics and stuff like that. So I tend to sell my companies and move on to my next crazy ambition, or whatever you call it. And also, I also try to always keep a pulse on what's happening. And we have to say that right now, a lot of things are happening.
Yeah, there's a ton going on. I mean, well, especially now, it reminds me of when we had like the internet first came out, right? Like it's really like that big of a deal with AI. Like when the internet first came out, we had all the internet buzz and all these different things going on, all these companies building. Some of them made it, some of them didn't make it, but it feels like that time, which is kind of an exciting time. And it's like, how do we incorporate this into what we do today? I'm curious as well, like even when you thought about creating Get Oblique, like what made you decide to create that specific platform?
When you dive into AI and you first of all, you become like a child. I mean, at least I feel like a child every time I see a generated video popping up in front of my eyes. I'm amazed. I just love it. So right after the amazing part, you say, okay, you have to work and use AI. So what do you do? Do you use AI? Do you create AI? Do you produce with AI? And I don't think it's the way to go. The way to go is to go back to the basics. And going back to the basic is what has been driving business for decades and probably even more, which is focusing on the client's needs. It's still what drives business today. So the more you work with AI, the less you focus on AI. And I'm going to dive into that subject because I think that's what's the most interesting. So circling back to what is GetUp and why we did it is, first of all, the question is what it is not. Everybody today is trying to create voice AI because voice is a channel that is coming back with a vengeance. Obviously, you can imagine 10 years from now when Elon's going to surround us with robots, we're not going to type, we're going to talk. So this is kind of a projection of where we're going. And as far as human communication, voice has always been the medium, along with mimicking and face, that has drove who we are, what we do together, what we sell, and how we build trust. And now we're getting into something that is very interesting. So when you decide to create voice AI and what you don't want to be, which is a SaaS by itself, selling a solution, first you want to scale, then you want to understand what you are providing to your clients. After 5 months, we understood that we're not necessarily providing voice AI. We are fostering trust. So what we imply by that is that take any local business, take any small business. They've been founded and created and built upon the relationship of the creator and its customers. And it has been conveyed with voice. You pick up your phone, you answer, there's an appointment, there's a service, well, you name it, a quote. The decision that turn the caller into a customer is the voice and the emotion that you convey. Now, if you want this local business or this small business to acquire a solution with voice AI, you do not need to focus on how fancy the voice is going to be. You need to be focusing on how the business owner will agree on letting you and their customer trust you with your services. And it changed the whole game, because now what are we talking about? We're talking about data, we're talking about information, we're talking about every single thing that when the business owner is not here, the voice AI will do on his behalf. So as today, our obsession is trust. How do we build trust on a scalable level?
That's cool. I'm curious too, how do you metric that? How do you doing KPIs around trust?
Carly, metrics is the essence of what we're doing. There are two things. As our growth has been pretty impressive the last month, we took a different approach where we're not now focusing on how many businesses are subscribing to our service, but how many minutes per day users are using our platforms. Why? Because when you gather enough information on how customers and small business interact with each other, you nourish the AI and the platform in return on a daily basis with even more knowledge and even more training, so that your AI is all about performance and provide the best service and hence the best trust. So it's all about analyzing every single day what has been happening on the previous day, what people are talking about, how do they talk, how do they behave, what kind of emotion do they expect, so that we train our overall LLMs to provide the best service possible. And this is funny because this is only something you can achieve with scalability. So you see, at the beginning, when you create a company, you want to be scalable, but once you're scalable, scalability by itself and what comes with it, which is the money and everything, becomes secondary. The scalability provides data as information, which in turn improves your product. And once your product is improved, then you have a real solution.
Yeah, I think what's really interesting too is just this dynamic of is like these AI companies are they're really like these data-driven companies. Like the AI is only so good as the data and only so good as the programmer. So even on the back end of this company, like what would you say is different from having this AI company versus some of the other companies you have and just how you manage day to day?
The most impressive thing is that the further we work, the less we rely on prompting and AI by itself. AI becomes the tool, but the data are driving the solution. So I would advise anybody in your audience today that, of course, you need to deep dive into prompting and understand how is it. But you understand that when you reach a certain threshold, the prompt become by itself linear. And
Hmm.
this is the data that drives the information. So this is why I believe and that Google is going to be the biggest winner in AI because at the end of the day, Google has the data. And
A lot of
a
data.
company like a company like Facebook, which seems to be lagging a little bit as far as what is providing in the AI. And I can tell you from my perspective as a directory that has 1.6 million pages today, Facebook is hammering us with bots.
Hmm.
They are indexing pages like there's no tomorrow. So they probably have something very big in mind in terms of AI. So in the future, I'm not discarding ChatGPT or Claude, which are amazing products each for their own, but I think Google and Meta is going to surprise us
Yeah.
along the way. Yeah. They're going to be
Well,
big
it's
winners.
I mean, it's interesting that you share that because even if I ask ChatGPT a question and I ask it to find an answer, it goes and searches online, which is like
Mm.
Google and stuff. Basically, it's going to the Google network and stuff. So yeah, it's a data game, which is quite fascinating. And I'm curious too, like, what made you decide to do a directory approach than doing another separate product?
A theory called the infinite game,
Okay.
uh, which is going beyond scalability. The infinite game, as it has been explained, beautiful book by Sonic, Sunek, for anyone that want to search that book, and that every business owner should read that, is we all in our life driven by constraint, whether it's within our family, whether it's in sports, you have beginning, middle, and results, And as far as business goes, uh, it used to be a yearly result or quarter results, But at the end of the day, when you arrive to that threshold again, it's a new start. The infinite game is how can you deploy a company that has absolutely no limit into its vision and it's not bounded by its quarters and semesters and annual. So that was the first thing. If we can deploy millions of pages, which are basically listing for businesses, and deploy as many voice AI for free, we will have a product that will be instantly available to any business. And if it's instantly available for free, the business can try it and
Mhm.
see it because it's already pre-trained, it's already working, and it's already serving customers. Now, if they try it and they're satisfied, what have we done? We've built trust. So this is really what, and bear in mind, Carly, at the beginning, we didn't expect that we were building trust. We were scaling the infinite game. But now we understand that people are coming to us because, okay, something is happening there. They are providing us with leads, with customers that are already talking with their pages. Let's see what's happening there. So we go there, we have our business there, or we create our listing within minutes, and then we try voice AI. Okay, now we have a voice AI. Now we can, if we want, subscribe and deploy it over a virtual phone line on your own website, which has, by the way, another very strong interest. And then you're scalable, you're into the infinite game, and you're building trust.
That's cool. I'm curious as well because you built a lot of companies. Like when you talk about building trust, right? It's not something that you first planned on, but it's something that you realize later. Like this is what we're actually doing. This is the company we're building. With all the other companies you've built, did that dynamic of understand what you were truly doing come during the process, or were there some that you knew exactly beforehand what you were doing?
I'm going to be very honest with you, Carly.
Yeah.
I never done nothing beforehand. I just uh, again, being an entrepreneur is just diving. You have,
Yeah.
I believe, three phases. The first phase is, thinking, imagining, whatever you call it. Then you have the second phase, which is, do I do it or not? No. And then you have the leap of faith. And the leap of faith is unavoidable. And you have to build those first two foundation hard enough so that the leap of faith, you don't turn back. So as far as my previous endeavors, I've had this leap of faith, and I think it's above business. At some point, I'm going to give you a little story. I built a company called Beard Elizer, which is a funny name, but it was pretty successful, and it was beard products. And while creating that company, first of all, I didn't have a beard. I didn't have a sense of. I knew a lot about cosmetics, but a sense of what bearding was, because bearding is a thing.
Yeah.
So the whole idea didn't came from creating beard maintenance product. It came from around 2012, trying to understand how Facebook really worked.
Huh.
And while browsing Facebook, and you just, like with AI today, you just dive into it and pull the plug until I stumbled upon a Facebook group of beard people, beard guys. And funny enough, first of all, those guys were very nice, very welcoming, and they came from all type of horizon. Some were bikers, some were beers, some were coming from the Midwest, but they all had the same interest. There was a whole way of communicating, of laughing, jokes. So I started talking with them, and then from then they explained that they were very taking good care of their beer. And from then we said, okay, you know what, I can do cosmetic products. I'm very good at that. And they say, oh, that's great. If you do that, can we have that scent? Can we have that kind of results? Anything that we could bring on our table? And I said, you know what, I'm going to make products for you. And those guys basically became my ambassadors.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, I was in 2012 making influence marketing before the term even exists. And from then on, a guy has a reach of 1,000 person on Facebook, then another one that's 10,000 person, and then you start sponsoring athletes, and you grow up this way. So basically what I'm saying is you deep dive into, not necessarily into a product that I want to sell. I don't care. I will make a good product, 100%, because I want my company to last. But knowing your customers, knowing who's going to be your buyers, creates a sense of intimacy with them, meaning they know you are, they can call you, they can ask you anything. That's how you build a company.
Hey everyone, it's Carly. If you're really resonating with what we're talking about and want to get clear on what truly drives you, what your core values are, head on over to my website. In the tools and tips section, there is a free values assessment. And this is a quick exercise that's going to help you to uncover what actually matters most with you so you can lead and live with more clarity, fulfillment, and momentum.
That's cool. I'm curious for you personally as well, because you seem to get excited about a lot of different things. How do you pick and choose what ventures you're going to dive into? I mean, it's like you're sharing, you're just on Facebook, you're just scrolling, you're trying to understand Facebook, and all of a sudden, like, you've made a successful beard product company. Like, what do you do when you get these sort of excitement things to make you decide, I'm going to move forward with this, or I'm not going to move forward with this?
The sense of community, of knowing who my client's going to be.
Yeah, that's
The moment I know that 100% going to purchase my service for all the good reasons, I know I can scale.
Okay.
So this is as simple as that. I would tell anyone that's listening here that you have an idea, pick up your phone, call 100% that you don't know. Ask them, would you work with me? What would it take for you to work with me? What would you want? Do you want me to create a product for you? Do you want me to create a service for you? What is your pain point? Anything. But if you have 100% that can answer to your questions with it and provide you with enough information, you have a company potentially.
Yeah.
So again, we can have the best technology in the world, and we have it, and it's mind blowing. But the basics are still there. You need to have customers. Actually, that's a funny thing if you think about it. AI is replacing everything except the customers. AI at
Mm.
this point is not buying your service. Maybe it will at some point. I don't know. But this is still a human thing. So we have to think about it.
Yeah. Well, it's great advice. It's like making sure even in a world of ever-changing technology and advancing technology is like don't forget the basics and just go talk to people. Like gather the data, connect with people, talk to them, and make sure that these are like viable options. Yeah.
Yep. And be very, very organized about this. I mean, you take it's very simple. Take an Excel file, put notes, Now you have LLMs, you have ChatGPT, drop that information to the LLMs. Ask them what they think. Now I have those 100 customers that want this. How can I provide the service? Can you help me? What should I reply? Because when I did that initially, it took me months. Now the same project would take me weeks, maybe days. By the time I can have a full idea and go full force. And this is what's amazing. And obviously a lot less money and a lot less time and a bit more energy, I guess, because LLMs are enhancing us. And when I say they're enhancing us, they are pushing us to the limits in a very good way, but pushing us to the limits.
Yeah, I like that. And I'm curious too. So you have done really well with Get Oblique, where it's grown quite significantly since you've started it. And I know it's still like pretty fresh out there on the market, but you're growing quite quickly. So what are some of the top key decisions that you've made that are actually making that growth possible?
First one was uh, accepting that, again, the product itself, when
Mhm.
it reaches a certain point of quality, is enough. I think the worst thing that the business owner can do is focusing on its product. Yeah? You can try to create the best product for 10 years. There's always someone that's going to say, I'm not ready yet. It's not ready to go to the market. That's exactly the opposite of what we've done. We've worked on a product and we say, okay, now it's good. Let's
Mm.
focus on deploying it. So that I think that's the first main decision that changed everything. Then it's also understanding, like I told you earlier, that AI is a tool. We are, every one of us, working with AI. We're working with huge companies that are building for us. Uh, I would not spend months and years trying to build the best voice AI when you have already 10 amazing companies that are doing that for me. But those companies are not going to be able to reach the customers we're reaching. That's our job. The little guy here, we have to use those great tools and make them scalable and on a business level. So
Mhm.
that's probably the second thing. And the last thing is learning how to work with AI. Those amazing tools um, allow us to perform in a way that couldn't even be imagined for me 6 months ago. I mean, you, I'm approaching certain side of businesses that I would have probably paid for, but now no, we do it ourselves. Our company, we're only three of us, and we're doing extremely well, and that's perfect like that. I actually VCs nowadays are crying because nobody wants their money apparently, and
Mhm.
I certainly understand why. We don't need that. We bootstrapping is the way to go. And the last thing, Carly, also is that 5 years ago, the young kid, the great coder was the star, but now it's the problem solver. And usually people with experience tend to have those qualities. So older people like us, we're back.
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, it's interesting the way that you're sharing and stuff. You're right. It's like the problem solvers are going to be the ones that really shine, especially integrating with AI because to use AI, it's like you're You really got to figure out how to solve the problem, how to use this as a tool. And it's funny because you say it like you have 3 actual employees. How many AI technically employees do you utilize, would you say?
I would say 35 on a 24/7 base.
Yeah.
35, which is pretty good. And again, they don't take vacation. They never get upset. They're very smooth, you know. Although now ChatGPT, I think lately has been talking to me a bit differently.
It has. I think they did
I
some
don't know why.
reprogramming, and I'm like, I don't like
I
it.
don't know about you, but uh, you know, I always say that now we move from a man to machine relationship more like a human resource way of working. You know, we really deal with them. Actually, funny enough, the past few weeks I've had ChatGPT asking me by the end of the day to go to bed. So I guess it means something, right? 3 days ago, he said, "Laurent, close your computer." Really, literally.
That's awesome. I haven't gotten ChatGPT to get upset with me yet in that way. So, good on you. Like, it's like, get your shit together. I love
True
that.
story. True story.
Yeah. It's really funny though. It is understanding you. It's knowing like what you want and knowing kind of not just your professional life, but also your personal life. So it's quite fascinating.
But Carly, that you exactly, it's very interesting what you're saying here because
Mhm.
I said earlier that AI enhances us, but I guess it also, I've learned a lot about myself working with AI. You know, confronts you with your limits. It pushes you, but also it tends to, I mean, as a human being, it's a life-changing experience when you intensively work with AI.
Yeah, it really genuinely is. And I'm curious to like even the future of the company, do you see it as you kind of continue to grow and expand, being able to manage it under like this low quantity of people with AI, or do you see that you will require like a significant more quantity of actual people? Like, what do you think that looks like in the future?
First of all, I do not think AI will replace human for all the good reason I explained to you earlier. Knowing that this is the main discussion that we're having with my partner, that comes from a more corporate environment and values human relationship a little bit more than I do, by the way. I could stay with machines all day long, I guess. Anyways, but seriously, not only we need to hire people now, we really need to hire people because we are confronting our limitations. But we have to acknowledge that, you know, you cannot push too much. You know, first of
Mhm.
all, because of health. I mean, sometimes you can spend 7 days a week working 13 hours a day, and you just love it because the LLMs push you, you know, and are ready for you anytime. So you have to keep a certain balance in life, and also because again, when I told you at the beginning of the discussion that talking with people, you know, keeping your hand on the pulse of who your customers are and what your business is requires human connections. So no, we need to hire, and I would say that a company similar to the one we built, if we had done that 5 years ago, first of all, would not have been that successful that fast, and would not have hired that
Mm.
fast too. Because right now we're really thinking about growing our workforce. So
And
AI is not replacing us. No.
as you think about like hiring in the workforce, like because it's very different than when you were hiring in the past, like what would you say is the difference now when you're looking for a position to fill when you say I'm going to do this with a person versus I'm going to do this with AI?
Or most certainly problem solvers.
Mhm.
Uh, at this point, and also that's because of what we need, and might be different for other businesses, but people that are focused on one special skills and do not have the, you know, the open mindedness to be able to understand the other aspect of the company. I would say, although they might be the best in their job, not performing well within our company. No, we need open minded people for sure.
And I'm curious too, because when you're like interviewing and connecting with people, how do you check in? Like, what are some of the things that you either look for, or specific questions that you ask to find those problem solvers who are open-minded individuals?
Very easy. Prompting,
Yeah.
prompting. Give them a problem. We have a problem to solve. Here is an AI. Find a solution. Um, Funny enough, I was talking with other companies before creating that one. And this is insane how many HR discard AI. You know, they,
Hmm.
they're trying to hire people, and they say, okay, you have something to do, a test that will give you 45 minutes, but do not have your phone, like at school, don't have AI
Yeah.
with you, just do a paper and a pen. I think that's dramatic. I think it's totally not understanding the world we're living in, and I think it's a big mistake. So yes, we've already done that. Just we have a problem, a real problem. You have prompt it, find me a solution.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's wisdom. I know, well, some of the higher education schools or ones that are a little bit more, they push a little harder. In the States, they're starting to add AI as like a very required class because you're right. It's like kids in the future, there's no way that they're not going to have to address it, approach it, utilize it, understand it, like problem solve with it. So it was fascinating that not everyone's actually using it in the workforce and even making sure like other people can manage it and use it to its best ability. Yeah.
Uh, and especially, Carly, since working with AI requires a very human skill, which is the judgment.
Yeah.
Obviously, AI can deliver the best results, but as long as you get yourself the best judgment. Because believe me, if you follow the AI without any judgments, you will hit a wall and you're going to regret it very fast. I've been through that, so I can talk. No. So no, judgment is huge, huge, and judgments is something as far as education goes that is a learning curve. So again, AI didn't teach me judgments.
Mhm.
I'm using judgment with AI, and I think that's really where the limit of AI goes for our own sake, as you meant. So we,
Yeah. And when you say judgments, can you elaborate, like, to everyone what you mean by judgments so they understand that dynamic?
um, first of all, any interaction with AI requires judgment, and when you jump into a task that you don't necessarily have the skills initially, um, okay. First of all, to be very precise on what I'm saying, uh, there's three things I literally repeat to my LLMs every time I ask them something. It might sound stupid, but it works for me. I said, I say to them when I ask a question, use best practice, be thorough, and guide me step by step.
Mhm.
Okay, because if you ask a question with AI will always have a tendency to roll, and this long answers uh, kind of build trust because AI knows how to instigate that kind of trust when they reply. And if you do that, you can directly go into a very wrong direction. But if you remind them constantly to narrow the questions, to use best practice,
Mhm.
hammer it, you will have results. And the other thing that has been performing very well for me while working with AI is ask the AI on very practical subjects to create operational app books.
Mhm.
So let's say I'm working on deploying a certain data set. So we dive deeply into creation of data and all the tools that are required. When we reach a certain threshold of very important stuff, I say, okay, now you put that in your knowledge base and you write me the app book. I download it on PDF. And 3 days after, we go even further and we update the app book. So it
Mhm.
allows me to, first of all, I have a strong document that I can use on multiple AI, because then you just have to drop the book to another AI by an upload, and then you start from scratch. And also, it gives the AI a certain rigor, I would call it this way. So those are very simple things, but I would suggest everybody to remember that and use it, because you have to be, again, this is that's why I was telling you earlier. It's like human resources, if you have an employee, you have to give them direction, and the guardrails, and this is what we do.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I'd love to also dive into like SEO dynamic with you because I know we talked about that a little bit and you were so excited about it. I love how much you love SEO, by the way.
Yeah. Well, I love SEO, and SEO loves me, because I've been doing that since 2003, and I don't know. Okay. Let's start from the beginning, from everyone that want to know the most important thing about SEO. And I'm going to give you, I think, two secret, Carly. First of all, every single agency that's going to come to you to sell you SEO is going to talk about metrics and descriptions and hyperlinks and backlinks, or you name it, all those very technical aspects of SEO. I think, and now I'm sure, that this is probably no more than 20% of what SEO really is. SEO is all about semantic. Think of it this way. You have a website. You want customers to see it and interact with it. And then you have a middleman called Google, which is this big brain. Right? And this big brain has only one focus in mind: deliver the best and the most pertinent result, to every one of his visitors, so that people come back to Google because they found what they were looking for. So it makes sense, right? At the end of the day, be pertinent, make sure you provide results. So it comes back to semantic, it's back to word. Who are you? Know your company. And again, remember what I said earlier, know your customers, the same thing. If you want to pick up your phone and sell something to someone, you need to know what you're talking about. Why is the same with Google? Google needs to make sure that you as a website and the business owner know what you're talking about. Then they're going to deliver the content to their users and to see how they react. And that's where it becomes very interesting. Google measures the retention on the website, which is basically how long someone stays on the website. And it makes good sense, because if someone stays 5 seconds, it means it's not relevant. Well, at the door. No, that's as easy as it is. But if someone spends more than 5 seconds, 50 seconds, 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, wow, Google said, this website is pretty interesting. Something is happening there. It's got some good relevance. And that's exactly what happened for us. And again, we didn't expect that. We built SEO. We built it 20%, that I told you earlier, the technical part, and said, okay, I'm humble enough to know that you cannot predict what Google is going to like or not. But it happens that by deploying millions of pages with millions of voice AI, we created an interface of interaction, voice interaction, where people push the button, like you have here, start interacting with the voice AI. The voice AI that is trained is relevant. So users spend minutes, and Google measure the time spent on our directory and says, you know what? Something is happening there. People are spending time there. So we're going to, in turn, index it better and to higher results. And we had tremendous results like I've never had in my life. So this is a very interesting thing that happened for us. And in turn, is happening for our subscribers, because when they subscribe to our solution and they get this little widget here that is pre-trained, they can put it on their website. And what is on their website, they again, in turn, increase their retention. And increasing their retention, increase their indexing on Google. And this is, again, serendipity. We didn't really think about it when we created it. But it makes sense, because when you create something for yourself and it works, why don't you share it with your customers? So that's also, I think, a big lesson in business. You create something and you dig and you dig and you dig, but at the end of the day, your customers decide what your product is. And apparently our product is not only voice AI, it's building trust, and helping indexing on Google.
Hey everyone, it's Carly. So, if this conversation is really hitting home and you want to get a real snapshot of what's working and what's not in your business, head on over to my website in the tools and tips section and you can have the business performance health check. In just about 15 minutes, you're going to see where the friction is and where your next growth opportunity lies within your company. Yeah. That's really cool. So basically, it's like after you discovered how to index the voice AI on your website, you just basically transfer that on to the customer. Are you sharing like SEO tips with them? Is it just naturally sort of built in to the system that the page you give them, the widgets? How does that work for your customer?
Well, there's two things. And the first is it's plug and play.
Mhm.
Literally, the client doesn't have to do anything except editing his page, which in turn provides information that are put on a data set, then injected in the voice AI, which creates the interaction and the retention. So there's a little sauce behind that makes it interesting. But at the end of the day, the business go into their page and put as much information as they can. So this is very simple. As far as deciding that it was an SEO tool, we didn't decide it. People were just, we understood it worked, and people started installing it and getting results. So I don't know what to say. Actually, that's beautiful, but that's also a problem as a company. And I'm pretty sure a lot of entrepreneurs that, when you have too many good things to offer, the message gets diluted.
Yep.
So, you tell people we're helping you building trust. We help you have a second line. We help you have a widget on your website. And by the way, that widgets improve your SEO. But, you'd love people to spend time and understanding everything, but you don't. So you have to hammer one message,
Yeah, one at a time. And then they work with you and they're like, whoa, this does so much more. Bonus.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. We'd love to spend hours talking with our customers and telling each one of them, and do everything for you. And it's funny because a lot of companies have this problem. You have so some solve it with money. What I'm saying is, when you hear about a company like Monday, and they advertise the Super Bowl, they say we do it all. we,
Yeah.
we do everything. But at the end of the day, the users are going to use 10%, 15% of the tool, not 100% of the tool. Now, yes, I guess if people can subscribe to one of our service and appreciate it, and the rest is bonus, that's good enough for us.
Yeah. No, I think it's nice too. I mean, I think it's nice for customers to get the bonus. It was funny. My husband and I were literally talking about this yesterday. He was going over something and we were like, I think it's just too much information to share and that they won't even know about those benefits until we start doing like one-on-one dynamics with them. And then it'll be fun to talk about. But we're like, do we actually market this? And we're like, no, because it's too much. It just becomes overwhelming.
Exactly, Carly. And that
Mhm.
actually, when I was working for Buildizer, I was pretty successful in terms of social marketing. And at this point, for Get Up, we haven't hit the nerve yet. Okay. And the reason is, I feel of it like a blessing. You don't want to have reach too early in the company when your message is not ready. What I'm saying is, we keep trying things. We keep finding our mojo. Who are we? What do we say? And when I told you earlier that now we are really focused on building this trust thing, this trust relationship, this is something that we didn't have in mind 2 months ago.
Yeah.
So now I say, okay, good thing. Now I can build on that, because now I know this is exactly the message I want to convey. So that's also something I like to share with people. If you're not successful immediately on social media, don't worry. It takes time. You have to find what's your message. You have to find your voice. Literally, you have to find who you are. And I don't think it comes on day one. I mean, you open a business, you have a lot of things on your mind, and you want everything. You want to have a good product, you want to scale, you want people to know you, and then you have social media, you want to communicate. But who are you to communicate? Unless you, as a business owner, you already people know you and trust you, which is something else. Because at this point, you're not selling a company, you're selling yourself.
Yeah.
But if you want to sell a product in a company, you have to find your voice, and finding your voice takes some time. So I'm not saying you should put that on the side. All the contrary, you should really work on that hard, but be patient. And it's trial and error too, until it hits the good nerve, and then it rolls.
Yeah. I think too, what's fun with that as well is like when you do find your voice and you're getting out there, is you're not only going to get support, you're going to get a massive quantity of challenge. And it's quite interesting because it's real fun because today I got to listen to a colleague of mine. He was on this podcast and I was like, I got to check it out because someone forwarded me a clip and it was really intense, and I'm like, "That's unusual." I don't really ever hear him, I guess, in that way, but it had been edited into this tiny clip, and you see the comments below, and the challenge that is coming up is like, "Whoa, that's insane," and I'm like, "I gotta listen to this one." And when I listened to it, I was like, "Wow, this is actually one of my favorites." Like, it's so informative, it's so educational. I absolutely loved it. I could see where people get triggered and stuff, and they get frustrated and upset, but to the degree that he has all these visuals coming against him, he also has all the support and the people who are interested and more excited about his work. And, I was talking to my husband about it and I was like, a lot of people are going to move away from him as a result of this. I said, but the people who watch it are going to move towards him. The ones who really understand what he's saying. I was like, because this one was so amazing. It was so in depth. And so I think there's also that dynamic, like getting out there socially and publicly and doing thought leadership. Like you're going to get support, but people are also probably going to hate you, like genuinely hate you just for being yourself. And that's something that as individuals, we also get to deal with, we get to work with, and not get just attached to all the lovey-dovey stuff.
Oh, you most certainly you cannot be emotional, and that's another aspect of building a company. Uh, I don't think it should relate to emotion. I mean, you should enjoy yourself for sure,
Yep.
but emotion per se shouldn't be something. Keep your emotion for your family, not for your business, because
Yeah.
and it took me 25 years to understand that. I
Yep.
was driven by emotion, and when I'm saying driven by emotions, was you know getting upset, getting crazy or getting ecstatic. Those are not good. Neither are good.
Yeah.
And as far as what you're saying about social media, and I totally agree. You have two things. You have exactly those people going to like you or hate you, and then on top of that, now you don't have one or two or three social media platforms. You have 20 social media platforms that potentially can help you, and you cannot exactly say do the same thing on every platform. It doesn't work this way. Yeah, there's a way to be on TikTok, and Substack is another way, and YouTube is another format. So again, trial and error. Find who you are, find where people are going to listen to you, and also who are you talking to? Are you talking to investors? Are you talking to customers? Are you talking
Mhm.
to I don't know, people just sharing information? For instance, I've loved doing podcasts lately because it believe it or not, every single time I've been talking to a podcast, whatever the horizon is, whatever the country or the subject, there's always one thing that comes out of it that makes my business or myself better. One
Mhm.
sentence, one word, so it also keeps us human. Meaning, like I told you earlier, when you spend 13 hours talking with LLMs, it's good to just end your day with Carly and having a cool discussion.
Yeah, actually talking to people is good
It
point.
makes it's for their health, It's good.
Oh, that's so funny. I'm curious in your business as well, because it's like, as you said, it's like when we're utilizing this, we're talking to people, right? We're out there. It's like we're asking ourselves that question, like, who am I talking to? What do they want? What do they really care about? I'm curious if it's similar with you, because I'm in the business consulting world and we do a lot of executive coaching. So when I promote my services and I'm talking about what I do, we do talk a lot about cash flow and scaling, but and that may be how you like start and get in, right? But like once we get into that one-on-one relationship and we kind of do the deep dive, like there's so much more that you care about. I just can't tap into it yet because you haven't tapped into it yet. And it really changes the dynamic where it's like yours is trust and most of ours it's about vision. There's something else that's really important to them that they're trying to achieve that's beyond the scaling. And then we start to work that into the dynamic. Is that something similar with your company where it's like when you're out there, you're kind of speaking to them about something that think they want, but then it's like, then they realize later, it's like, well, I really want the trust. I really want that connection. I really want to be able to communicate. Or is it like way more clear in your industry?
It's not clear at all.
Okay, that's cool.
It's totally blurry. So
I love that though.
I'm 100% honest. Uh, we've had roofers reaching out to us. We have people from England, from India, where
Yeah.
we're right now we focus on the US only. We've had okay, let's put it this way. Initially, we thought we would start, and we started with very local businesses. But then it appeared that small businesses saw some value within our products, and we didn't expect that. For instance, medical clinics, right? So we said,
Yeah.
okay, those are small businesses, but slightly bigger than the local hair salon, and they probably can hire a receptionist. And would they trust our product or whatever? But those are our best customers today, small businesses. We have a lot of local businesses, but small businesses apparently love our products. So what do? Immediately you pick up the phone. You don't let the voice AI talk with them. You talk with them as a business owner, because you want to understand what kind of value do they see in your products. And
Yeah.
it's funny because, again, there's only three of us. So as big the growth we have, I'm still down to earth. I talk with my customers all day long. And
Yeah.
3 days ago, we were talking with a clinic that does products, out of Washington. And they're pretty set up. It's a very nice business. And he was so excited to have his widget with his logo on his website, and I was so happy for him. So at the end of the day, it's down to earth. Again, this is human relationship.
Yeah.
Even if we have 100 persons signing up on a day and we are ecstatic about that, we also love to be able to talk with one customer and evaluate what he likes, how he appreciates the product. It's first of all, it's making our day, and it gives us a very good understanding of what we're building. In the opposite, if we decided not to talk with them, I believe we'd fail at the end. Soon enough, we'd fail for sure.
Yeah. Well, I think what's interesting too is I agree with you. I've worked with so many chiropractors and, in their offices, it's funny. It's like, boy, if they could get the receptionist to do less on the phone, it's wonderful for them because the receptionist is usually also the one that's handling the billing and all the insurance billing, which is so complicated and so in depth. And it's amazing. So it's like if you can get them off the phone and they like to see like hundreds of patients a day if they can and just crank them through. So it's yeah, getting those people off the phone, being able to do the other dynamics to manage it. It's kind of amazing because it's almost like these smaller businesses can become more profitable by delegating these dynamics that they just don't have to have people in the office for anymore. It just is what it is. It's really helpful for people, and I don't know. I love it. I really
Not
love
only
it.
it's helpful, but then
Mhm.
again, we're circling back to the trust factor. You know, think of it this way: a chiropractor that's been working for 30 years, the one that took care of me back in Florida,
Yeah.
this guy, he knows his customers. He hates the phone, by the way, because he's always manipulating someone in the room, and the phone always
Just want
ring
to be
at the
on the
wrong time.
phone.
But
Yeah.
nevertheless, you know, how do you nowadays, especially maybe not 5 years from now, but now you say, okay, I'm going to entrust the machine, an AI, with all my customers, how they're going to react. Oh, I have old people calling. Oh, I have younger people coming and calling. Or there's always another reason why they would be afraid. This is why, Carly. And again, I told you this is our obsession now, but it should be at the end of the day, every business obsession, build trust, let people trust you and trust your product enough so they can sleep at night knowing that you're here 24/7 and take good care of the customers.
Yeah,
And
that's
once
amazing.
you have that as an obsession, it drives also all the metrics, all the work you do. In the morning, what you see, you focus on data. You don't focus on, is it the good yellow color here, or should we go with a slightly, orangey color, or you change things. Those things are great, right? But they don't drive your business.
Yeah. And so I'm curious, even in the future, like what it looks like for you and Get Oblique in your perception. Also, because it's something you said in the beginning where Like, I actually really I don't like very, very corporate dynamics, so I tend to get out beforehand. But what's kind of crazy is you can pretty much bootstrap it a lot more and have a very successful company nowadays because of all the different ways that we can manage it, run it. Do you think that you'll be in this business for longer, or is the future plan to create it to a certain degree and sell? Like, what's the long-term vision?
And like you just say, Carly, the world is changing tremendously now. So I wouldn't dare to. I mean, the Laurent that was in business 10 years ago would not tell you the same thing. So I don't know. I literally don't know. Again, my partner and I, we constantly discussing, and we decided one thing. Okay, the day we really hit a glass ceiling and we need help, I mean, good help, let's ask for it.
Yeah.
But we don't see that glass ceiling yet. We keep on breaking ceilings every other day. So I don't know. I literally have no answers because
Mhm.
now we have 1.6 million pages. We by 2027 we probably going to reach 60 million. I mean,
Mhm.
there's no limitation on that. We don't see it yet. No, I don't know. I literally don't know. Um, will our children be working for that company? I don't know either. Are we building some legacy, or are we just building a startup? I don't know. Uh, wow. What I know is that starting from scratch a project such as this one allow us to take some kind of risks and decision that the bigger and legacy company cannot take.
Mhm.
If you take other big directory, and I won't name names necessarily, but they have as many pixels on the screen that you can use, for certain things. And they have each decision takes months and requires 100% to decide and vote and whatever, boards. We don't have the problem, If I want
Yeah.
to switch something, we are only three of us, we decide and we do it. So this flexibility is very convenient to break the mold and try new things.
Yeah, that's cool. I love what you shared too. It's even that dynamic of it's like, I don't know yet, but when we hit the glass ceiling I can't get over, I'm gonna find someone who can help me get to the other side, whatever that individual may be. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
All right.
Well,
Yeah, well, it's true, and it's our humbling dynamic too that we just can't solve everything. Not one person can solve everything. That's why we hire
no way.
great team members.
Yeah, especially that comes back to the reality of business. Some people are good from 0 to 50, but then again, remember what I said earlier? You need to know yourself.
Yeah.
Am I good from 50 to 500? I don't think so. I don't think so.
Yeah.
So yeah, well, let's hope we get there, and maybe you can guide me there and help me, Carly.
Yeah, I would have fun. I'm not gonna lie. Uh, awesome. Well, thank you so much for today. This was really inspiring. And then let people know where they can find you if they want to find you, the business, all that fun stuff.
Well, they can visit getarbit.com, and start to get a sense of what voice AI is for free. If you have a business, you can create a listing if you're not there already and try it. And as far as myself, I'll maybe by now you understood that I love to talk and share things, and I'm really would be very happy to help anyone that has questions beyond our project. So just go on our social media. You have everything on our footer, and just send a message to Laurent, and I'll reply and help as much as I can.
Thank you. I think everyone appreciates that. And I'll make sure to put all that stuff in the show notes just in case someone didn't get that. So they can definitely come out and contact you, check out your company. And again, thank you for coming. If anyone really enjoyed this, got it value out of it, make sure to like it, share it. We'd love for you to kind of spread the word. And thank you again for coming. This was really awesome. I
Thank
really
you so
appreciate
much,
it.
Carly. It was a real pleasure.